Hi, church. It has felt so good to me, and has it felt good to you for the last few days? To be so beautiful, for the world to be coming back into life, it so feels, with flowers coming out and bird song, and a world that is a lot warmer and just nice to be in. And in a way, that is a harbinger of resurrection. Springtime and resurrection have often gone together in the church's thinking, and there's a reason for that. The resurrection of Jesus is about God's new creation. We talked about this in worship in our last sermon in the series, At Home with Jesus, talking about how Jesus' resurrection makes our home in the life that God gives. And you might have noticed in our text from 1 Corinthians 15, it was just a little bit of that chapter, that Paul didn't talk about going to heaven when you die. Which is not to say that Paul doesn't believe in heaven, or that we will not be with God after death. What it means is that the resurrection of Jesus is about more than going to heaven when you die. It's about the new creation that God is bringing to everything. As we heard in our passage, as all die in Adam, so will all be made alive in Christ. That God is going to deal with every ruler and dominion and authority, every power that is opposed to God's life. God is going to deal with that and has dealt with it in the death and resurrection of Jesus, so that a day will come when nothing that harms life, nothing that mars the life that God intends for us to have, will be in the earth at all. Everything will be new, everything will be alive, and we will be made entirely new people, from the tips of our toes to the tops of our heads, inside out, body, soul, mind, spirit. The entirety of us will be caught up in Jesus and the new life that God gave to him in his resurrection. So, what that means is that the life God gives in Jesus really sends us into the earth. The life God gives in Jesus is not about taking us out of the earth as kind of disembodied souls, which is more Greek philosophy than it is the biblical gospel. It's about God's heavens taking hold of the earth, so that God lives with us in the earth and we live with God in the earth as fully alive, fully made new people in the risen Christ. So that means something for how we live now, our investments. Are we invested in what the earth is going to be like when God is reigning in all things? Are we invested in what relationships with people will be like when God is reigning in all things? Do we have a vision of our world that is just bathed in the light and love of God, which is what all things will be like when God's heavens and the realm of the earth have come together as they did in Jesus, the one who was fully of the earth and the one come from heaven. The two become one, which is what his resurrection is all about. So I encourage you to come to this last at-home group this Wednesday, a meeting by Zoom. We'll do it at 7 o'clock. And also, as a note, I just came from the meeting of our reopening team that has started its work, and hopefully we'll have some initial things to say about when the church will start gathering again. There's still more work to do and more plans to make, but we are making progress toward having some reopened church experiences when we get to be together, for sure in modified ways, because God values life and we need to guard one another's lives, but it will be good for that to happen. So blessings to you. I hope that you have found in this series ways to live at home with Jesus and to find ways that God is at home in your own life. Peace to you, church.